Hi friends, it's Corolla on socials. I'm from Corolla. In this video, I wanted to give a May update on how I've been using my planners and journals, how it's going, some small tweaks I've made moving into June, and give you a flip through of some of my books. If you missed my last update on how my planners and journals were going in April, then take a look at that. That includes flip throughs as well, so you can see some of my layouts and pages that I've been using so far. So, spoiler alert, there haven't been many changes, or I should say major changes, in May, moving into June. I found that I've really been enjoying the notebooks that I'm using and the systems that are keeping me organized, but also creative and functional and mindful. And knowing that, I've been able to make very small tweaks in terms of aesthetics and the flow of using those notebooks. So first, to start, I wanted to talk about my EDC, or everyday carry, the system that keeps me organized and on top of my day every day. And I keep this sort of system in this cute little tote from Yippee Designs. It's very, very small and handy. So no surprise from my previous videos, if you've watched them, I've been using the Plotter Mini 5 and I've been loving this so much. It has surprised me at how functional I'm actually finding this Mini 5 binder. I would have never thought that I would be in the system for this long, and yet here we are. And I'm not changing this anytime soon, knock on wood. So this is the Plotter Mini 5 in Pueblo Red Brown, and it came as a gift set, so everything is sort of coordinated and matching. I've done little aesthetic tweaks, right? Like adding a vellum cover page or just for interest. I also got some of these cardstock divider pages from Plotter at the San Francisco Stationery Fest. I also have this pen loop, which I use to house my Tom Studio Lumos Mini. It is a perfect fit and it's a refillable fine liner, so I can fill it over and over. So the main way I'm using my Plotter Mini 5 is as a scheduler. And the great thing about the size is that it's very portable. So I can throw this into my purse, or I can travel with it and always know what my schedules, appointments, and all those things are. The events that kind of make up my day. So I use the Plotter monthly diary refills, and it's very handy because it's small, but also has enough space for all the information that I need to kind of house in here. So this is what the monthly layout looks like for May. And the way I use it is by turning the perspective of the monthly page so that I'm kind of writing in it horizontally, I guess. And by turning it this way, I find that there's just a little bit more space. Of course, using a Mini 5, you're limited in terms of how much you can write down. But I just find that this is enough for me to be able to write down just top line appointments and events that are happening. And sometimes priority to-dos or tasks that need to get done during the month. And then I also kind of include if it pertains to that month, if I got a new pen or something hobby related. And I think that works for me. I also use little icon stickers from the Coffee Monsters Co. When I want to track books that I've finished reading, or new ink bottles, new pens, that kind of thing. Or sometimes if I get happy mail or pen pal letters, I like to track that in my monthly as well. So for the weekly pages, I use the Filofax weekly refills, I guess. They are mini size, so it fits the Mini 5 perfectly. And it is 1 week per 2 pages. So layout wise, it gives me enough space to include more information about events and appointments. And if I'm traveling, then it has enough space for me to sort of jot down more details about where we're going and plans for that week. So it's very useful to have this. Then I have a section in the back here that's just for hobby-based notes and just anything I want to write down on the go. So it's useful to have, some papers in the back here, as well as the Plotter Project Manager folder, which houses more personal information that I might need on the go. So that's how I've set up my Plotter Mini 5, and it has been working really, really well for me. And I am continuing to use it this way into June. A companion to my Plotter Mini 5 is the Midori or MD A7 notebook. I've been really enjoying using this. It is just writing down tasks, so nothing special or nothing aesthetically, important in here. So I started this on April 13th, and it's been going really well so far. I like having this separate from the M5 or the Mini 5 because I don't have to, take out pages, remove pages. As you know or can see that in the plotter, space is limited because, it has a slim profile, and you kind of want to keep it this slim just because you want to be able to take it with you and have it be, portable and just contain what you need. So I find it handy to have my tasks in a separate book that I can, flip through as I need to and keep it all in one place. Having all of these pages in the binder just doesn't make sense. And so I've been, using this and just kind of seeing how it goes from here on out. And so far, so good. So we'll see. We'll see how the system sort of evolves just in terms of usage and whether I keep it, in two separate sort of companion systems. What I do enjoy about using an MD notebook with Midori paper is that it's fountain pen friendly, and so I've been really enjoying using this Pilot E95S pocket pen, and it's super easy to uncap and write something down on the go or in the moment, and also be able to just enjoy using my fountain pens and inks. So this is my planning system, and it is working out really, really well for me. And I will be continuing this into June. The only thing I would add to that is my project manager, Plotter A5. And this houses all of my projects and tasks and creative things that I am working on and that I'm also tracking. So the only thing I have in here are monthly plotter diary refills, and that is basically just to track deadlines and also, sort of highlights or things that I've been doing during the month. And it sort of works for me in terms of being able to refer back to that information at the end of the month to know what I worked on during the month and when things sort of happened. So that's the bulk of this binder. And then in the back, I sort of have pages where I just break down projects that I'm working on into manageable steps and tasks that ladder up to each project. So, if it's something for social media or a collaboration I'm working on, then I break down the different steps that I need to work on and then assign deadlines to them as well, so that I know that I'm constantly and consistently moving forward in each project. And I like having the A5 space to be able to brainstorm and also work out each project and be able to write all that stuff down. So that's really helpful to house in this plotter A5. And then in the back also I have the Hobonichi supplement notebook, supplementary notebook. And this is where I keep information and highlights about my platforms and how they're kind of performing month over month. So another major part of my planner and journal lineup includes my Traveler's Company passport size system. And this I use for journaling and for daily journaling and also rapid log journaling. So how that works is I have an insert for rapid log journaling on a daily basis, and then I have an insert for expanded journaling with more context around things that happen. So it's the cover I'm using is the Love and Trip cover, which I got earlier this year, and I've been really liking this reddish brown color, which matches my plotter. So it's been really nice. The only thing that I changed from April into May was aesthetically, I changed the elastic. So I now have this mustard yellow on here, which I find really nice. So I may again change that at another time, but for now, I'm really liking this contrast of color. And then I also put in this charm from another cover that I had. So it's now on this cover, my Japan charm. And inside my layout, or the way that I've set this up, is with the Traveler's Company cotton folder or canvas folder, whatever this is called, and has a zipper in the back. And I just keep small things in here, so stickers and stuff like that I might need. Then I have a folder. So this is the craft folder from Traveler's Company, and this is where I keep stickers that I use on a daily basis. A lot of the Coffee Monsters Co. sort of emoji faces. Some are themed or some are seasonal as well, but they come in handy when I'm trying to just add a little bit of context to my daily rapid log journal. So this is the lightweight insert from Traveler's Company. And the one change from April into May is that I finished my previous lightweight insert. And so this covered March into mid-May, I guess. So it's been really handy to be able to use these inserts and just kind of move into my next insert when I need to. So this one I started May 15th, and it will probably go into mid-July. So the way I'm using it is, like I said, rapid log journal. So every day, as things happen, as events unfold, as the day unfolds, I just keep, bullet point notes on what happens, where I go, what I do, anything that's family related as well. And the important use case for this, or the important way that I use this, is as reference for when I do more of a reflection journaling, or when I'm doing memory keeping, and I need to kind of refer to things that have happened in the past, and I don't like memory sort of falling through the cracks, or little things that sometimes happen during the day that you just kind of forget about. And I like capturing that kind of stuff in this insert. And then in the middle, I have a couple of pages of sticker release pages put in here. And these, again, include, stickers that I might use on a daily basis or might be handy to have with me. And this is sort of my rapid log journal setup. And then in the back, I have this Love and Trip insert tucked in here. And this is just for expanded journaling. And so, if we're traveling and there's tickets or stubs or things like that, that I want to include for just a little bit more context and just for some fun journaling, that's when I use this insert. And so it's undated, right? So I can just kind of continue using it until I run out of pages, and then I throw in another insert. And I like having my Tombow mono drawing pen in O2. That's my go-to fine liner in my inserts. So both my lightweight insert and my, this is the MD cream paper insert. I like using a fine liner because it dries really quickly, and I can also highlight and color on top of it if I have to, just to make something stand out a little bit more. And so it's kind of handy to have this and be able to use this instead of fiddling with a fountain pen. And if I'm on the go, then I use the Tom Studio Field Mouse. This is one of the smallest refillable fine liners I've ever come across, and it is very handy if you just need to write something down really quickly. So moving on from my kind of daily use planner, journal, and even project manager, these are my books that I like to use on a daily basis, but I don't have to. And some of them are sort of on a weekly basis. I come in here and I update things. So first up is the Hemlock and Oak. This is the weekly and daily undated planner. It uses the 70 GSM archivist paper that is specially formulated for Hemlock and Oak. And it has quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily pages. So it is hefty book. So I haven't really used the daily pages much. They are nice to have in here. And initially, when I was using this planner, I did kind of test out, there's a lot of daily pages. I did test out drawing in here and doing a little bit of journaling. And so that was fun. But then I kind of migrated to sketchbooks and other books. So this kind of fell off. So now I'm kind of using it for testing different stationery tools like the Tom Studio or Ori highlighters and other things. So it's kind of handy for that. But in terms of what I actually use it for is more for memory planning. And so I've been using the quarterly pages for tracking doctor appointments and dentists and other sort of things because I kind of like seeing, just being able to see the different categories of things that I'm tracking. And that's been really nice and useful. The monthly pages, I'm kind of playing around with what I'm using it for. So month over month, it's sort of changed a little bit. Didn't really use it in April. I just kind of jotted down one thing that happened that I wanted to remember. And then in May, I just kind of jotted down a Happy Mail thing. In June, I want to try and track Happy Mail or orders that I made, stationery orders specifically, and have that in one place. That would be kind of fun, but I don't know. I'm kind of still thinking about it. And then in terms of weekly pages, this is how I'm using it as a memory planner, is just going and highlighting the different appointments and events that are planned for the week, and then adding a little bit of detail once the week is over. And I just find it interesting to kind of see my week in a bird's eye view, just to see the things that were planned for the week and the things that happened. It's kind of been fun to see it that way. And it is a minimalistic way of doing it. So I'm not adding too much information into my week. It's not a memory keeper per se. It's more so based on the plans that I had made for the week. And then kind of using up some stickers and washi tapes that I want to use. So it's still a kind of testing book, something I'm testing, something I'm experimenting with, having fun with. So no, it's not something I need in my lineup, but I've really enjoyed the paper and I really like the book and how it's designed. And so I have been sort of playing around with it in my lineup. Hemlock and Oak do have their pre-order open for 2027. So if you are wanting to, order a Hemlock and Oak planner, or if, you already kind of know what your lineup is going to be for next year, then they are taking orders, and it's worth checking them out. So if you do, I have a code with them that I'll include in the description, so you can save a little bit, and you can also support me as a creator. Okay, next up we have my Stream of Consciousness journal, and I have been using this consistently, and I just finished my last notebook that I was using for this purpose, the MD lined A5 notebook, which I finished on the 2nd of May. So I pretty much started May in a new notebook, and it's been, I've been really enjoying this. This is the Life Noble Note collaboration with Hachimonjiya. And so the cover is foiled. It's a very nice, sort of aesthetically pleasing notebook, the way it's designed. But the paper is really, really nice as well. It's nice and smooth, fountain pen friendly. And I've been kind of playing around with the different fountain pens that I use, and that's kind of the point of my Stream of Consciousness notebook, is that I use fountain pens, and I also pick out the nibs that are going to give me an enjoyable writing experience. And so while I'm just kind of putting words on paper without filter, without sort of thinking about it, I'm more focused on enjoying using a fountain pen and enjoying the nib and the ink that I have in the pen. So that's kind of the point of my Stream of Consciousness notebook, is using up my fountain pens and really enjoying the process of doing that. So let's see. I do keep a tab on what fountain pens I'm using in the notebook. So that's very handy to see, and also kind of fun to look back on and see the kind of pens I used in the notebook. So I'll be using this Life Hachimonjiya notebook for the next little while for Stream of Consciousness journaling. And then last book, I think, in my lineup to mention is the Hobonichi A5 5-year techo or diary. And I am in my 3rd year. I'm continuing to use it. I'm not behind, as you can sometimes fall behind in multi-year journals. But I have been keeping up with this every few days. I go in here maybe every other day. Lately, I've been going in here and just updating it. And the purpose behind this 5-year journal is just to archive, or have an archive, of the daily events that are happening in my life pertaining to me and my family. And the information or the things that I write in here are based on my rapid log journal and what I'm sort of noting down for each day. And so when I'm sitting down to write in my 5-year journal, I have my rapid log journal insert open, and I just pick out the important things that I want to archive or remember in my 5-year. And so I've been keeping up with this and love the practice of just writing down things. And since I'm in my 3rd year of this book, I'm now at a point where I can see what has happened on the same day in the last couple of years. Some things are happy, some things are sad, but they're all memories, and they're all worth revisiting and honoring. And so it's been an experience, and I want to continue that. So I'm staying on top of this for sure. And in the 5-year, I've been using my Pilot Custom A23 pretty consistently. I've actually only been using this pen since the start of this year, and I think I've inked it up with 2 different inks so far, and just kind of trying to be consistent in terms of the inks that I'm using. And the nib is a signature nib, which I find really comfortable to journal with. And so I've really been enjoying having this pen be the pen that I use in my 5-year journal. So here are the extras and more hobby-based notebooks. My newest cover that I got in May is the Roterfaden collaboration with the Stationery selection out of Japan. And the reason why I got it is because it is very classic looking, very sleek. It doesn't draw too much attention, and I wanted to try out the Roterfaden system. I've heard a lot about it for a long time and never really found a cover that I wanted to invest in, because they are pricey. They are not cheap. They're pricey, so if I'm going to invest in one, then I want to make sure that it's a cover that I'm going to use and be drawn to. And also I was looking for the right size. So I've done some research in terms of what size I would probably use for this type of system with the clips. And I thought an A6 probably made sense, because A6 notebooks are kind of a standard for me. And anything aside from that, whether it be B6 or A5, has been very specific to the use of that notebook. And so I thought A6 is probably a safe way to go. Plus A6 is not as expensive as a B6, and so I thought I would start with a smaller size and see if it would be of use to me. And I also kind of wanted to compare it to my Traveler's notebook systems and my Ring systems. So so far I've been kind of playing around with the notebooks that I want to have in here. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing into using this cover for something specific just yet. As I sort of finish other notebooks that I have already in my lineup, I don't want to sort of cut off anything midway through using it and then have to start over in this. So I'm just kind of taking my time with testing out different notebook sizes that might work in here. So because this is A6, you can of course include or use an A6 notebook. So if you are going to use it for A6, you can have an A6 notebook in here. But what I did find is that if I put in an A6 in here, it is pretty much flush with the cover or the edge of the cover. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, or if I prefer to have notebooks sort of sit nestled within the cover and not go right to the edge. So again, something to think about. But I did find that the Hobonichi supplementary notebooks, this one is an A6 size, but it is slightly smaller than an A6 because they created it this way so that you can tuck this into their A6 planners without it sort of going over the edge. So I find that they are actually a great size for this A6 Roterfaden cover. I also have a pocket notebook in here, so something like a field notes would be fine. And then I have a passport size insert in here as well. So this is from Yamamoto papers, this is from Esterbrook, this is from Hobonichi, and they're all different sizes, and I think that is part of the cool thing or positive note to using the Roterfaden cover, is that you can use various sizes within the cover as long as it ladders up to the main size of the cover. So A6 being sort of the largest that you can put in here while still sort of being protected, and then anything below that size would be totally fine to use because the clips do they are pretty long, so they would be able to keep in whatever little booklet or something you have in here. Now I have also tried putting in bigger or fatter notebooks, larger notebooks in here in terms of how many pages are in it, and that of course will push your cover out, but I kind of like the look of the cover with just like booklets or slim notebooks in here, and so still kind of playing around with it, trying to figure out my personal preference for how I want it to be, trying to stretch out the cover a little bit too. So, you know, the more you put in here, the more it will stretch out over time and the more comfortable it will feel. So something that I'm playing around with, and you should probably hear more about it soon or later, at a later date. In terms of hobby-related books or systems, I have mentioned my plotter square in my previous lineup videos, because this plotter houses all of my hobby-related notes. So if I go to a meetup or a show or an event, I tend to take this with me because it is a great space for me to try out pens, inks, and other, you know, tools and stuff, and have that as a reference in here. So if I try out nibs, then in fountain pens, then I can, you know, refer back to what I've tried and what I really liked. And so it's kind of nice having this portable ring system that I can carry with me to places if I need to. In terms of sketchbooks, these are kind of my main sketchbooks. They do have different papers in them, and I think that's why I have a variety of notebooks or sketchbooks that I'm using. Size doesn't really play into it too much, except that standard size obviously can fit into a traveler's notebook cover, and so that's kind of useful if I do want to take it with me somewhere. But it's not really the main objective of picking that notebook to use. It's more so based on paper. So I have my Hahnemuehle watercolor cold press sketchbook, and this I've been using for, you know, painting with watercolor paints as well as fountain pen inks. So in May, let's just see here. So in May, I painted with some paints, watercolor paints that I got from Tom's Studio. And then and that's it for May. So that's the only painting I did in the sketchbook in May, and that was on my Twitch stream. So you can join my Twitch streams if you want to watch me do this live and on stream. So aside from that, I also have this Midori cream insert that I use for painting with watercolor paints as well as fountain pen inks. And so May, I did the same palette that I used in here from Tom's Studio, and I tried it out on cream paper. Looks pretty good. And then I also did this painting with fountain pen inks. So these are 4 of the inks that I have currently inked in my fountain pens, and I just wanted to explore them a little bit more and have some fun with them. And so I did this as well. And this I did in June. So that's my Midori cream insert. I also have this Galen Leather Tomoe River paper insert. And I've been using this to document my currently inked fountain pens. So that's every month I'm in here just documenting my currently inked fountain pens, or if I have a lot of fountain pens inked up, then I pick my most notable ones and I call them my notably inked fountain pens. So in May, this was my currently inked fountain pen spread. So I had 8 fountain pens inked up, and they kind of vary in terms of color, nib, and also the type of pen I'm using. So again, I do this on my Twitch stream, so if you're interested, just check out my my Twitch and join the streams to watch me do it live. Then I'm using a Midori or MD cotton notebook, and this I started using for drawing flowers based on reference photos in April, and so I've been doing this around once a week ish, once every 2 weeks, mainly on my Twitch streams as well, just, you know, to have fun with coloring pencils. and fine liners on this paper, which is very soft and slightly textured as cotton paper. So in May, I did this drawing, the autumn anemone. Then I also did Triumph tulips, which was based on a reference photo that I took at Bouchard Gardens in Victoria, BC. Another photo I took there was of these tulips that are fringe tulips, and just vibrant and really, really beautiful. And then I did a painting in June. So I've been really enjoying using coloring pencils on cotton paper, which, is great with graphite. So something, to try out if you're interested. Then I've been using the Canopus Note, and this is from Yamamoto Papers, and it's their version of, their latest sort of paper that is similar to Cosmo Air Light, which is discontinued, but it is different in its own way as well. So I've been kind of having fun playing around with this paper for drawing as well, but with markers. And I found that its smooth texture is really nice for blending colors and being able to get that smooth finish. And so I've been really enjoying that as well. So in May, again, I did the anemone flowers. The colors look really nice and vibrant. The Triumph tulips, and then I also added English daisies that were in the photo. So again, you can kind of see how vibrant these colors are. And I used Tombow dual brush pens to add color to this. So again, the fringe tulips look very, very nice. Very cheerful. And that's it for May. So hoping to get back into this practice in June and onwards. Mostly doing it on my Twitch stream, but hopefully I can kind of make time for it outside of that as well. Because to me, it's really important to, explore stationery supplies and use different papers, different notebooks, to kind of enjoy that creative process and find one that works well for you and that makes it enjoyable for you. So that's it for my lineup and for my May update in terms of how I use my planners and journals, including my sketchbooks. And I think moving forward, I think I'm going to include my sketchbooks as a place to show you flip throughs and how I'm kind of using notebooks in creative ways and in my creative practice. So I guess you could look forward to that. But in terms of my planners and journals, no major changes, right? I love the current systems that I'm using. I think it works really well for me. I don't feel like I'm too pressured in terms of having to use everything. And I'm not finding it challenging to keep up with anything because I think the way that I'm using everything is very mindful and very intentional. Everything sort of has its place. And, even with books where I'm kind of playing around with the layout, my Hemlock and Oak, I don't put pressure on myself to fill up the pages or use pages that I just don't feel the need for. And that may change in the second half of 2026. But for now, I'm happy where everything stands. And I'll just kind of be playing and tweaking layouts and the way that I'm using my books and seeing how it could work for me, especially as I've found that seasons play a huge role in terms of how much I'm able to use and how consistent I can be. And so we're now moving into the summer months. July and August are when my kids are off school, and so they're around a lot more. I'm usually out of the house a lot more, and so I can't be, using my desk planners or my desk notebooks, things that are larger or bulkier. And so I tend to lean towards my portable systems, my smaller notebooks and my smaller systems. And I think that's what I'm going to start focusing on in the coming months. And so let that just be a reminder for you as well, is that if you have a lineup that you started with in January and you're starting to find that you're moving in and out of certain books for whatever reason, just keep in mind that it could be seasonal based. It could be just based on your current circumstances and situation. And it's okay for that to change, and, for you to adjust and be flexible based on that. And you never know, you might come back to certain systems because what works tends to work. So, if it needs to be tweaked, then that's totally fine. And I would just go with it and see where it takes you. So thank you so much for watching my video. I'm Corolla on socials. I'm from Corolla, and I'll see you in my next video. Appreciate you for being here. Bye.